Hey, welcome back to Compliance Clips. Today in part 2 with Jane Jazrawy, we explore how recognition boosts fleet performance and delivers increased ROI.
Part of recognition is catching somebody doing something good,
Mhm, mhm,
and giving
Yes.
people who
mhm,
have like almost never get called out for something good,
mhm.
just do it. And
Yeah.
we have a system, we have something in Carrier's Edge that we call it Fist Bump Friday. And basically, if somebody has done something for you or has done something well or has gone above and beyond, you give them a fist bump.
Mhm.
And it's really is it's that the whole cost is write a sentence about what
Right.
they did.
Sure.
And anybody in the company can do it, and it works really well.
Well, I was going to say a spin-off of that could be where you've got somebody who's always going above and beyond and trying to help the company be a better corporate environment and help the employees enjoy life at this corporate environment. That person could be the next driver trainer. And if
Exactly.
they're enjoying that, then it's like, hey, I want to give you a bonus. I want you to train drivers. So whenever you're here in the yard, I want you to help them do their vehicle inspection, and whatnot. And I will compensate you a little bit more for your time. But you're showing good practice and you're teaching people good practice, and you've got a good ethic skill on how to share that practice. So there's another aspect of, reward per se, recognition of that of the trainer.
Because what's really important about rewarding people or trying to find the good things and the positive aspects is that you start to notice those. You're not focusing on the negative, you're focusing on the positive, so you're
Hmm.
watching for
Hmm.
positive, like, oh,
Yep.
this is really good, this is really good. So not only are you starting to see the stars come out in your company, like who's really effective in their job
Right.
and who is really making a difference, you know all of the loudmouths who are just
Hmm.
constantly yammering at you don't really matter, because you're looking at what is actually being effective.
Right.
So it does that. And it also kind of, you start to see the gaps where people are not doing it.
Right.
So where people are not getting a fist bump and
Hmm.
they're not working within the company that well,
Right.
then you have somewhere to coach them on. So
Correct.
the
Correct.
rewards can give you a whole outlook instead of that negative punishment. You're not doing what we're telling you to do, blah blah blah. You look at the positives, and
Yep.
those people will help you figure out why you have, like, if you have a lot of, if you have something that okay, let's say that everybody's doing bad
Hmm.
inspections and they're not doing
Hmm.
their inspections. So if you start promoting when people do a good inspection,
Hmm.
then other drivers are going to say, okay, well, how can I, go and
Right.
talk to that driver?
Right.
And they will go and do that.
Sure.
And that's recognition, that's peer
Yep.
recognition, and
Yep.
that's really important. And that,
Yes.
if you let your if you encourage peers to um, have peer recognition,
Hmm.
to encourage to do it, that builds such a tightness of
Huge. Huge.
of the culture. Like, you
Yeah.
really, people are feel closer together.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I've said many times, whether in many circles, I've said, I don't know any driver that wants to be a bad driver. They just don't know how to be a good driver, right? And
Yeah.
you're going to have people, their personalities, extroverts, introverts, and whatnot. You've got those people that don't have a problem going, help, I need help. But you have those other people go, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know if I want to raise or anything like that. So it really helps that.
Yeah,
Rick,
it
I bet you
does.
got something you want to say.
Yeah, I think you do.
You noticed. We won't tell anyone that, the only way I can get a world in Edgewise is to send a chat message. Will you stop? Please. Edit.
Oh.
Anyway, no, what I wanted to ask you, Jane, because as we mentioned, we were talking before we started recording here and
Mhm.
before all of this, and I mentioned to you that I got into the recognition point about the same time you guys started doing Best Fleets Drive for. I obviously, because you were just beginning, I didn't know you. I was using different methods. I was doing things like the IHSA, and I was doing the recognitions. I was doing plaques every month
Mhm.
for various initiatives. And now that I'm in the consulting side of things, I tend to get brought into organizations who are struggling. And a lot of the times when we're struggling, like it's throughout the culture. So you know, the whole company culture is because things aren't going well. There's negativity, and we're focusing on the negative behaviors and not looking at the positive behaviors. And we've got issues with how we're applying our rules and consistency and all of these issues. So the first thing we do is we sit down and we look and say, okay, what's broken? What's not working? Let's revamp what we're doing. Let's recreate your policies. Let's recreate your procedures. Let's do some standardization. And we always get buy-in on that part. There's never any doubt that the companies know what they're doing is not working. So they're like, cool, great. Someone who's got some experience can put this stuff into words and give me something that I can put in front of the drivers and everything's going to change. And it's like, no. Nothing's going to change now other than the fact that, you know, you now have a set of guidelines within which to work. If you want to change, the first thing you have to start doing is on a one-on-one basis, interacting with your drivers and turning your messaging into positivity, turning it into coaching and developing, and turning it into recognition. And every time I get to that stage with a client, I get this. It's like we just drove into quicksand, and all the initiative came, all the excitement came out, and there's just a wall of skepticism. And the statement is that can't possibly work. So tell me what you've seen work and how you've seen it work because I'm sure there's carriers who have the first time you got an application, you know, the results were not that great. And when you went and you did your in-house, it's like, you know, but the owners got motivated because I mean, I've got some success stories. I know John's got some success stories, but what have you seen when when the management group suddenly decides it's like, okay, you know, we've come this far, we're gonna go forward, we're gonna take their word for it.
So there's a couple of carriers who are on the top 20 now, and actually one of the overall winners, Challenger. Challenger was an overall, it's the second time that Challenger has been an overall winner. And they've been in the program. They actually didn't make it a couple of years. So they've been in the program for like more than 10 years, but I think they're only 8 consecutive years because they've had a couple of issues. But one of the things that they did is they had roundtables all across the country with drivers and basically took that information and created kind of what you're talking about, Rick, but they incorporated the driver feedback as well. And we're talking about, okay, so how do we make this work for you? And it wasn't just recognition, but I know they do recognition. There's recognition in there, but it was just about everything. Because when you have a broken culture, it's never one thing. You have to work on culture. I said this in the at the last Best Fleets awards conference that we had at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Is culture is not a fixed object. Like it doesn't stop. Like it's not just there, and you have to polish it up once in a while. It takes care and feeding. You need to be paying attention to culture all the time. So when your culture is broken, there's many pieces that have to go into it, and one of those very important pieces is talking to drivers. You can't figure out all of your policies and how you're going to do things and not include them and not have those one-to-ones. You can't be scared of that. It's an important part. It's an uncomfortable part because you're going to hear things that you don't like, but you have to do it. And so when Challenger did that, it didn't make a huge difference in the quality of their questionnaire and all of what they did in Best Fleets, but they came up with a lot of really good ideas in that process, and that's how they get to be the overall winner. It's because you're not just good, you're pushing the limits, and the more you talk to drivers and the more you incorporate what they feel into what you are doing, and you listen and you have a way of listening and responding over and over and over again, you're going to get there. But I wanted to tell you about another fleet, which was CAT. CAT had been in the program on and off for a while. And I think I did their interview, and I saw them, and, you know, you see companies that kind of come in with the same thing over and over and over again. And I kind of I was like, I kind of know what what it's going to be about. They're very nice, but probably not going to be a best fleet. And they were the overall winner that year. That was a couple of years ago, because I got on that interview and I read the questionnaire and I was like, wow, they've done a lot of changes. And then I got into the interview and I was like, those ads where people's hair goes back and, like they're like, what happened to you? Like, that was like, holy crap.
Quite a changeover.
But they did it on purpose. They were so purposeful about it. And they, like Challenger, they put significant resources into it. And I want to just emphasize, you do not have to do that. You don't have to. If you have the resources, yes, you can, but you do not have to. All you have to do is go through the process of what is broken, how can we fix it, how can we include people in that solution, and then get the back and forth of, is it working still? Yes, no. Is it working still? Yes, no. Okay, we'll fix this. And then the care and feeding and the it's culture is just not going to stay the same. You get one new person and your culture kind of becomes different. So it's very, but anyway, CAT made a very, very concerted effort. They did the same thing. They talked to everybody and they created a program that, I can't remember. It was a really good one. And it was based on a red string, I believe. And the story that Michael told me was something about this red string on a ship kind of keeps it, either signals things or it keeps things together. There's something about it. And that was kind of how the whole program that they created was based on keeping things together. And it was fabulous. And that will keep them, I'm telling you, if you can create programs like that and keep the care and feeding going on, then it will be successful for years.
Right.
So the secret to success is actually engaging with and developing a feedback loop with your drivers and making that work and sharing and talking with them.
I know, it seems so simple.
That's really difficult concept.
Yeah. Well, and again, you've made it very clear. You don't need to invest a lot of resources. It can be very simple or it can be complex. What do you want to do? But you don't have to spend a ton of money doing it. And I imagine if people want to learn more, they can go to the Best Fleets to Drive For website and find out more about how have some of these people put programs into place. What kind of programs have they put into place?
Or maybe listen to the next couple of our Lions clips in the series, because I suspect we might even want Jane back for another.
I'm thinking so.
Can I come back?
So.
Can
I only got to ask 2 questions. I don't know why.
Well, we'll just put him on mute. We'll put John on mute.
Yeah.
And
he'd still talk. Like that.
I could be distracting either way.
Thanks so much for coming out west or coming out east from the west. Are you going to be at the Fleet Safety Council conference?
I will be.
I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Yeah. I'll be there too. I'll be the good-looking guy.
Yes, well, I know you're up for an award, or
you're wearing a mask.
Hey, shh, mask. Listen to this. Yes, I will be up for an award. Thank you very much. So we won't share what it is right now. Anybody wants to know, come to the conference and find out. It'll be fun. So.
And the other thing is, if you want to know more about how Best Fleets actually become Best Fleets, then next March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we will be having our. We'll be doing the awards, but we'll also have some education sessions on how you can start to become a Best Fleet, because it's a process.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great process to get in. Thank you very much, Jane.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Cool. We'll talk again soon.
Compliance Clips is a joint production of Summit Risk Solutions and Links Consulting. Thanks so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you in our next release. Take care.